my girlfriend said. I called 911 and told them you hit me so you'd come home from poker night early. The police were at my door. I just stared at her. Creative, I said quietly. Then I showed the officers my doorbell footage, her rehearsing her story and hitting herself to make it look real. When they arrested her for filing a false report and wasting emergency resources, all I could think about was that just a few hours earlier, I'd been sitting at the poker table with a full house in my hand when my phone started buzzing across the table. 11 missed calls from my girlfriend, Samantha. Then the text, "Come home now or you'll regret it." I stepped outside to call her. She answered before the first ring even finished. "Where are you?" Her voice shook, but something about it sounded forced. "At poker night, like I told you 3 days ago." "What's wrong?" "I need you home right now." "Samantha, what happened? Are you okay?" There was a long pause. Too long. "Just come home. I'll be there around midnight." "Forget it." Click. Weird, but I brushed it off. She'd been unpredictable lately. 20 minutes later, an unknown number popped up. "This is Officer Davis. Are you the resident of apartment 4B? My stomach dropped. "Yeah. What's going on?" "We're responding to a domestic violence call. Your girlfriend says you struck her in the face. We need you here immediately." Time froze. "I've been at my friend's house since 6. I haven't even seen her. Sir, please come home now." I drove faster than I ever had in my life because apparently, my life depended on it. 2 patrol cars were already parked outside my building. Neighbors were watching from their windows, phones out, recording. Perfect. My apartment door was open. 2 officers inside. Samantha was sitting on the couch with an ice pack, tears rolling down her cheeks, looking convincingly heartbroken. "That's him." She pointed at me like I just walked in holding a weapon. Officer Davis stepped forward. "Sir, your girlfriend claims you hit her around 6:30 p.m. before leaving." "Impossible. I left for poker at 5:45. I've been there ever since. 5 people can confirm that." "He's lying." Samantha jumped up, her face flushed, the ice pack slipping from her hand. "He was drunk. He got mad when I asked him to stay home, and he hit me." The female officer watched me closely, calculating. "Can anyone verify your location?" "Yes. 5 people. Texts, timestamps, everything." Samantha's expression flickered, just a second of panic. That's when I remembered. "Officers, I have a Ring doorbell. Want to see what really happened?" Her face drained of color. I pulled out my phone, opened the app, scrolled to 5:43 p.m. The footage showed me leaving, calling back into the apartment. "Love you. See you later," her voice replied. "Have fun, babe." Then I skipped ahead to 6:45 p.m. Samantha stepped outside, looked both ways down the hall, and started muttering to herself. "Okay, he hit me. No, he pushed me first, then hit me." She touched her own cheek, lightly at first, then again, harder this time. "Ow. Okay." Checked her reflection in the door glass, adjusted her hair, and smacked herself once more. "Perfect. He'll come home now." She actually smiled before composing her face into an expression of devastation and walking back inside. Silence filled the room. I looked at her. "Creative. That's not, I didn't." Her voice trembled, smaller now. Officer Davis looked at his partner. Some quiet communication passed between them. "Ma'am, filing a false police report is a misdemeanor. Misuse of 911 is another. And on video, you're fabricating evidence of a felony assault. I just wanted him to come home. He's always gone." I was upset. "So, you committed 3 crimes? The female officer pulled out her handcuffs. "Turn around, ma'am." "What?" "No. I didn't mean, he made me do this. He's never home." "Ma'am, turn around." What followed was chaos, screaming, crying, begging. The neighbors got a front row seat to her performance. They read her rights as she wailed about how I was ruining her life. The irony was impossible to miss. After they took her, Officer Davis handed me his card. "You'll need to give a formal statement tomorrow. Keep that footage and consider a restraining order. People who pull stunts like this tend to escalate." I nodded. That night, I couldn't bring myself to sleep in our bed. The whole place felt poisoned. At 1:47 a.m., her mom texted me, "You had my daughter arrested over a misunderstanding. Drop the charges now." That's not how the law works. But it told me exactly what kind of family I was dealing with. Game on. A week later, Samantha made bail. Her parents posted $5,000 the next morning to bring their sweet girl home. The first thing I did was call a lawyer. I found a sharp attorney named Patricia Lane, who specialized in false accusation cases. She'd seen it all before. "You did everything right," she said after watching the footage. That level of premeditation will bury her. What should I expect next? I asked. She gave a small, knowing smile. War. These cases always bring out the worst in people. She wasn't wrong. 3 days later, Samantha's best friend, Chloe, called me from a block number. You're seriously pressing charges? Over a mistake? She committed perjury and tried to get me arrested for felony assault. I said. That's not a mistake. You're ruining her life. No. She did that herself. I just had a camera. You're a heartless jerk. She loved you. Funny way of showing it. I hung up. Then her sister started posting online, vague at first, things like some people are so cruel. Then more direct, imagine getting your girlfriend arrested instead of working things out like an adult. I took screenshots of everything. Patricia told me to document it all. A few days later, Detective Morrison, who was handling the case, called me in for a formal statement. Mid-40s, tired eyes. You're lucky you had that camera, he said. Without it, you'd be the one in cuffs. I know, I replied. She's got a public defender trying to work out a plea. But that footage, he shook his head. She rehearsed it. That's deliberate. The DA won't go easy. Good, I said. He studied me for a moment. Most guys in your shoes get emotional. You seem calm. I'm furious, I told him. But being emotional doesn't help. Being smart does. He nodded. Keep that attitude. You'll need it. Then came the property division. Samantha wanted her things. Patricia warned me. Never be alone with her again. One more accusation, even if it's dismissed, creates a pattern. Always have a witness. So when Samantha texted, "Can we talk?" I just want to pick up my stuff, I replied, Saturday at 2 p.m. My attorney's paralegal will be here. 30 minutes only. She shot back, seriously? I just want to talk. All communication through your lawyer or mine. See you Saturday. Saturday came. She showed up with her mom, dad, sister, and Chloe, like a small army to pick up clothes. Her dad tried intimidation right away. You should be ashamed. Getting a woman arrested? For making up a crime? You mean that kind of woman? Potato, potato, he muttered. Her sister stepped in. She wouldn't have done it if you treated her better. Patricia's paralegal cleared her throat. We're here to collect belongings only. No personal discussions. Samantha barely looked at me. When she did, it was pure hatred. She gathered clothes and toiletries, then reached for the 65-inch TV. That's mine, I said evenly. We bought it together. I paid for it. You wanted the bigger screen, remember? Check your Venmo history. Her mom spoke up. It's just a TV. Don't be petty. Then she won't mind leaving it. Her dad's voice rose. You're a small man. I met his eyes. A real man would let his girlfriend frame him for assault? That your definition? His face turned red, but he stayed quiet. They packed her things in tense silence. When they were almost done, Samantha turned to me. I'm sorry, okay? I was stupid. Can't we fix this? No, that's it. Just no? Yep. Chloe got in my face. You're really going to let her go to court over this? She's got anxiety. And I've got a doorbell camera. Technology's amazing. After they left, I sat down, drained. Then I noticed something under the couch, her notebook. Inside, pages of handwriting. Therapy talking points. Lists of manipulation tactics. Make him feel guilty about poker nights. Bring up his emotional distance. Get him to open a joint account for transparency. Page after page of calculated emotional traps. I took photos of every page and sent them to Patricia. Her reply came fast. This keeps getting better. Discovery's going to be fun. 3 days later, Samantha's public defender called Patricia with an offer, plea to a minor violation, no jail time, sealed record. Patricia laughed. Your client rehearsed a fake felony accusation, hurt herself for evidence, and wasted police resources. Counteroffer, she pleads guilty to all charges, takes the conviction, and we don't file a civil suit for defamation and emotional distress. You've got 48 hours. They didn't take the deal. Fine by me, Patricia said. We'll go to trial. Things only got worse after that. The preliminary hearing was last week. Samantha showed up looking like she just stepped out of a church service. Hair tied back, plain dress, barely any makeup. I made one little mistake. Look. The prosecutor didn't waste time. He presented the footage, the timestamps, the self-inflicted marks, and her clear rehearsal of the story. Samantha's public defender tried to argue mental instability. The judge watched the video twice. Counselor, he said, your client is adjusting her hair between takes. That's not a breakdown. That's rehearsal. Trial date 3 months out. That's when everything went nuclear. First, Samantha's mom launched a full Facebook campaign about innocent women being punished by a broken system. She tagged me, my job, my family, anyone she could think of. My mom saw it within an hour and went ballistic. She responded with screenshots of court documents showing Samantha was facing charges for filing a false report. Her post ended with, "Maybe teach your daughter not to fake assaults instead of blaming her victims." Samantha's mom tried to claim I doctored the footage. People pointed out that Ring cameras record metadata that proves authenticity. She deleted the post within the hour, but the damage was done. The next day, I got stares at the gym. The front desk girl, who usually chatted with me, barely said a word. Later, the manager told me that Samantha's sister had been telling people I got away with hitting her. On a technicality. I asked for a quick word in private, showed him the court paperwork, explained the situation. He sighed. "I believe you. But you understand we have to be careful." "Yeah," I said. "Guilty until proven innocent." Then Samantha took things even further. She filed for a restraining order against me. Claimed I was stalking her social media, harassing her friends, and threatening her family. All of it fiction. I had to take another day off work, sit in court while she cried about being terrified of me. Patricia came prepared, phone records showing I'd blocked every number connected to her, social media records showing I'd unfollowed and blocked her entire family, and witness statements from friends confirming I hadn't mentioned her name in weeks. The judge skimmed the documents, then looked directly at Samantha. "Ma'am, you're already facing criminal charges for making a false police report. And now you're filing what appears to be a false restraining order. Do you see a pattern here?" Her public defender tried to speak. The judge cut him off. "Petition denied," he said flatly. "And counselor, remind your client that filing false legal documents will make her criminal case significantly worse." Samantha started sobbing. Her mom shouted something about protecting abusers, and the bailiff escorted them out. Even though I won, it still hurt. People at work heard about the hearing. They didn't hear the outcome, just the accusation. My boss called me in. "I'm not saying I believe anything, but HR is getting nervous about this whole situation. This situation where my ex is being prosecuted for lying about me? I know. But perception matters. Maybe keep your head down for a while. Translation: you're radioactive until this blows over." A few nights later, around 11 p.m., my doorbell camera alerted me. Samantha. She was pounding on the door, yelling, "Open up! We need to talk!" I didn't move. I called 911 and let the camera record everything. "I know you're in there. You ruined my life. You can't ignore me forever." She kicked the door, screamed about how I destroyed her reputation, and that she'd make sure everyone knew the truth. Cops arrived in 6 minutes. They found her still there, mid-rant, and arrested her on the spot for violating her bail conditions. Patricia filed for an emergency protective order the next morning. It was approved immediately. Later that day, the prosecutor called Patricia. "Your client's ex violated bail. We're adding witness intimidation to the charges and revoking her bond." Samantha spent 5 days in jail before her parents could find a bondsman. During that time, her dad called my office, somehow got my boss on the phone, and told him I was harassing his daughter and shouldn't be trusted around women. My boss called me in again, irritated this time. "I'm tired of dealing with this, but I need you to know what's happening." I showed him everything, court records, footage, timestamps. He sighed. "I believe you. But this is turning into a distraction. Let's just get through the trial, and hopefully this ends." There was that word again. Perception. Patricia filed harassment charges against Samantha's dad for the call and sent a cease and desist letter for defamation. He backed off after that. But Samantha's sister picked up the baton, leaving 1-star reviews about me on my company's Google page, accusing me of being violent. HR had to get legal involved to get them taken down. Through it all, Samantha's public defender kept trying to cut deals, each one worse than the last as her behavior dug her deeper. The final offer: plead guilty to all charges, 90 days in jail, 3 years probation, restitution for my legal fees. Patricia asked if I wanted to accept. "No," I said. "I want a jury to hear everything she did. I want the maximum." "It might not be worth it," she warned. "Trials are long and expensive." "I don't care." She tried to destroy my life. Patricia smiled faintly. "Now we're talking. Let's finish this." The trial started 2 months later. It was surreal seeing Samantha sitting at the defendant's table, wearing a beige blazer, hair pulled back neatly, eyes downcast like a remorseful student. She looked nothing like the person who had screamed outside my door. Patricia was calm, precise, and ruthless. The prosecutor handled the direct case, But Patricia assisted throughout, making sure every piece of evidence was airtight. The footage played first. The jury watched as Samantha hit record, ran to the bathroom mirror, scratched her neck with a key, and practiced her lines over and over, her voice trembling just enough to sound believable. Then they watched her set the phone aside, take a breath, and start the real version she had planned to show police. The courtroom was silent except for the playback. A juror covered her mouth. Another shook his head. Then came the ring footage from the night she showed up screaming outside my house. The timestamps matched her bail conditions exactly. She wasn't supposed to be within 200 feet of me. When it was my turn to testify, Patricia told me to keep my tone even. Just be factual. The truth is already enough. So I did. I told the court how I'd found the footage on my security camera, how she'd accused me of assault, and how my life fell apart afterward. The defense tried to paint her as emotionally unstable, not in control of her actions. But the prosecutor countered. She was calm and rehearsed. That's not instability. That's deception. They brought in a forensic video expert who confirmed the footage was authentic and unedited. Then a police detective testified that Samantha's injuries were inconsistent with her story. The defense tried a last-minute plea for sympathy. Samantha took the stand, tears streaming, saying she never meant for things to go this far. I just wanted him to feel how much he hurt me, she said. I wasn't thinking clearly. The prosecutor stood up for cross. So you weren't thinking clearly when you rehearsed your story? When you called 911? When you posted about it online? Or when you showed up at his door screaming threats? Samantha stared at the table. He pressed again. You lied to police, you lied to your family, and you tried to ruin an innocent man's life. Is that correct? She whispered. Yes. The courtroom stayed silent after that. Closing arguments were short. The prosecutor said, This isn't a case about heartbreak. It's about intent. About using the justice system as a weapon. And every piece of evidence shows that was exactly what she did. The defense asked for leniency, repeating that she made a mistake. The jury deliberated for 3 hours. Verdict: guilty on all counts, filing a false report, perjury, and violation of bail. Samantha sobbed as the verdict was read. Her parents were crying too. I didn't feel joy, just relief. At sentencing 2 weeks later, Patricia stood beside me while the judge addressed Samantha. You fabricated a violent crime, lied under oath, and then continued harassing the victim while on bail. You've wasted police time, damaged an innocent man's reputation, and mocked the integrity of this court. He paused, then continued, You'll serve 1 year in county jail, followed by 3 years of supervised probation. You'll also pay restitution for the victim's legal expenses and mandatory counseling. Her attorney begged for community service instead. The judge shook his head. If you wanted leniency, you should have shown it before you broke the law, twice. They cuffed her right there in court. When it was over, Patricia turned to me. You did well. Most people fall apart under that kind of pressure. I nodded. I didn't have a choice. Outside, the air felt clearer. For the first time in a year, no one was accusing me of anything. That night, I went home, turned off my phone, and sat in silence for a long time. Then I took the flash drive with all the footage, the screenshots, the legal documents, everything, and locked it in a drawer. Not as a trophy. As proof. Because once you've seen how easily a lie can destroy a life, you never want to be unprepared again. 6 months passed before I started to feel normal again. Life didn't snap back overnight, it crept. Slowly. Work finally settled down. HR cleared my record internally, and my boss apologized one afternoon. You took a lot of hits for something you didn't do, he said. Most people wouldn't have handled it that calmly. I told him the truth. I didn't feel calm. I just didn't have another option. My friends came back around too. The ones who'd quietly distanced themselves when things got ugly started calling again. I didn't hold grudges, but I remembered who stayed and who didn't. That kind of clarity changes how you see people. Patricia kept in touch. You know, she said during one call, you could file a civil suit for damages. Lost wages, emotional distress, defamation. You'd win. I thought about it for a long time. But in the end, I told her no. I just want to move on. Money won't give me that year back. She respected that. You're one of the few clients I've had who actually means it when they say they're done. I laughed. I'm done. Sometimes I still get updates through court notices. Samantha appealed her sentence, but it was denied. She's out on probation now, living with her parents. She's not allowed to contact me, directly or indirectly, for 5 years. A part of me wonders if she's learned anything from it, but then I remind myself it doesn't matter. Learning from pain is a choice. The hardest part wasn't the trial or the public embarrassment, it was the quiet moments afterward. When you realize you can never fully relax again, never trust as easily as before. Every time my phone buzzes late at night, my first thought is, what now? I started therapy on Patricia's recommendation. The therapist said what I went through was a trauma of character assassination. She wasn't wrong. I told her I wasn't angry anymore, just tired. She said, "That's still healing." Little by little, things improved. I got promoted at work. I started running again, sleeping better. I stopped checking the front door camera every 5 minutes. Then one afternoon, while clearing old files from my laptop, I found a folder labeled Evidence. Inside were all the recordings, screenshots, and legal documents from the case. For a second, I thought about deleting everything. But I didn't. I moved the folder to an encrypted drive and renamed it Proof. It wasn't out of spite. It was a reminder of how fast your life can fall apart, and how important it is to protect yourself, even from the people you love. A few months later, I ran into Detective Morrison at a coffee shop. He recognized me right away. "Hey," he said, smiling. "How's life treating you?" "Peaceful," I said. "Finally." He nodded. "You handled that whole thing better than most people would have." "Didn't feel like it at the time." He chuckled. "It never does. You'd be surprised how many folks crumble under less." We talked for a few minutes before parting ways. As I walked out, I realized that was the first time I'd spoken about the whole ordeal without feeling my stomach twist. That night, I sat on the porch, listening to the quiet hum of the neighborhood. No drama, no noise, no one watching or waiting for me to fail. For the first time in a long while, I felt free. Not because justice had been served, but because I'd finally stopped reliving it. And sometimes, that's the only closure you really get.